All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here for another exciting edition of As the REO Turn. Brought to you today by this amazing band, RICHRATH Project 313. That's right. For all of you old school REO fans, there's a band you can lean on during difficult times, honoring the memory of Gary RICHRATH and playing all of your favorite REO classics. And with the same amount of original members as the Kevin Cronin Band. That's right, RICHRATH Project 313. And they're out there touring. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description of this video so you can check out the merchandise they have and where they will be performing. This is old school, authentic REO music for people who are feeling the bitter aftertaste of the REO Speedwagon breakup. Now, why am I back with another edition of As the REO Turns? Well, turns out Kevin Cronin has spoken again. Kevin, brother, Kevin, why are you saying these things, dude? Wait till you hear what Kevin Cronin had to say. So Kevin played his first show as the Kevin Cronin Band, otherwise known as KCB, not to be confused with KC and the Sunshine Band, but that would actually be a great double bill. Kevin Cronin and the KC and the Sunshine Band double bill. At least, what is it? Casey from Casey and the Sunshine Band. He's the original guy. Kevin wants to claim that he's the original guy in REO, and that's fine. He had all the hits. And even Bruce Hall says, hey, I want Kevin to be the lead singer. Bruce Hall showing humility. Every time he puts something out there, he says, yeah, you know, we could go out as our own REO, but Kevin is our lead singer. Not so much humility on the Kevin Cronin side. Now, this is why I think there is something more to this that I've already, talked about. But what it is, I just don't know. It's confusing to me because he goes out there and he says, yep, as expected, a Kevin Cronin Band show feels an awful lot like an REO Speedwagon show. Yeah, except it's not REO Speedwagon because the other guys don't want you using the name, Kevin. But Kevin's going to go on here and say some things that I have to comment on because, quite honestly, folks, watching the ending of classic rock like this is painful. I didn't think it would be this painful because I would think at this point most of these guys would retire. All right, they would just say, but here's the deal. Their fans have a ton of disposable income and are addicted to nostalgia. I know people, they reach out to me all the time. They say, hey, Dave, what do you think about me going to this show? I mean, like my opinion should hold any kind of weight with their decision-making process. But they're going to spend $200 on a ticket. And I'm like, are you crazy? That's my first response. Are you nuts? I know, but I've never seen so-and-so. Well, they don't sound like so-and-so anymore. Kevin Cronin hasn't sounded like his old so-and-so in like 30 or 40 years. So what he's about to say here, it's just, wait till you hear this, all right? Not to keep building you up. That's why you need to like and subscribe to the channel, all right? Like the videos and make sure you subscribe. And then there's Patreon if you want to have a discussion about this. And what else? Oh, buy me a coffee. You want to send me a message. All right. So he says here, same hit songs. Same band as last year. And that's a little dig, right? It's the same band. No Bruce Hall. It's like another dig at Bruce Hall. Same band as last year. We don't have that Bruce Hall weighing us down with his lousy bass playing and his hunched over posture, which I'm just guessing because I'm just throwing darts because nobody is really, there's something else going on. Just tell us, Kevin. I don't like the way Bruce Hall looks these days. And if that's true, Grandma, then that's kind of a mean thing to do and say. All right? You don't like the way Bruce Hall looks? I mean, I don't know if that's true. Okay, so I lost my place. I'm getting old. Same high energy and the crowd on their feet singing along. Okay. All right. After a few $14 beers and people drowning each other out singing, the band is just up there to kind of be like a prompter. Like, okay, guys, go ahead and sing this song. We're going to do Keep On Loving You. Can you believe we're going to sing that? I think they do High Infidelity in its entirety, and then they do some other stuff. But yeah, no Bruce Hall to do High Infidelity with. You kind of need Bruce Hall on that record, right? You would think, but I guess you don't. At the same time, he says, now this is where it's going to get almost unbelievable. At the same time, having poured my heart and soul into building up the high-quality reputation which the name REO Speedwagon represents. All right, it's a bit of a run-on sentence here. I'm going to stop. All right, so he's poured his heart and soul into building up the high-quality reputation, which over the last 40 years has slowly diminished because in order to maintain that high-quality reputation, you need a singer who can replicate the band in its prime. Full stop. I'm sorry. I know I get people who say to me, well, Dave, do you expect Kevin Cronin to sound the way he did in 1982? And I think about it for a moment and I go, no, but I don't expect him to sound the way he does compared to the way he sounded in 1982. This is why bands like Journey and Foreigner, they replace their singers because they can't do what they used to do. Or the singers quit. In the case of Steve Perry, walks away from it. They find someone else to kind of sound like Steve Augeri. Kind of sounded like Steve Perry, right? Arnel Pineda kind of sounds like Steve Perry. There's got to be someone out there who sounds like Kevin Cronin in his prime. Kevin does have kind of a unique voice, especially in the old days. But to say you're maintaining the quality of the band when clearly there's an elephant in the room and it's not Chris Christie, all right? I mean, Kevin, do you sound like you used to sound at all? Now, people have come back to me and they say, you know, I went to the show and I thought it was pretty good. Did he sound the way he used to sound? Well, no, but I don't expect that. Really, for $200 a ticket or whatever it is, even if it's $60 a ticket, really, you don't expect it to sound like it used to sound. Here is the defining statement, all right? If a band can no longer deliver in a way that is somewhat close to the way they used to be, then they shouldn't be out there. And this is the problem with rock and roll. You see, a lot of these jazz guys, a lot of these crooners, they can go into their 80s, 90s, they keep singing, and they don't sound so bad because the music wasn't, you know, really loud and really difficult, and it was always just crooning, which isn't necessarily easy to do, but I think it's easier to maintain your voice over that many years. It's easier to maintain your hearing because you're not getting blasted by an amplifier every night. So in some cases, guys like Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, they went forever. They went for a very long time. But the rock and roll guys, they think they're all crooners. Yeah, I can do what I used to do. No, you can't. So when you say, you know, I put my heart and soul into building up the high quality reputation. So I think that's another dig at, hey, I've assembled this amazing band without Bruce Hall. That's shorthand for I got rid of all the dead weight. Neil Dowdy, the keyboardist, who's a genius. He's gone. He was weighing us down. The new keyboardist is better. The new bass player, he's better. So, of course, I'm just filling in blanks, and I could be wrong here, but that's what it sounds like to me. He assembled this amazing band, and that's the quality which REO Speedwagon represents. Here is the final part of this sentence that will probably make the Old school REO people rather upset. He says, I am devastated at being prevented from using that name. Okay, so that's a big time reveal right there. He's telling you that branding is very important, that it's harder to sell tickets as the Kevin Cronin band. You probably can't charge as much for Kevin Cronin merchandise. You probably can't put a high ticket price on things if people don't know who you are. Seriously, I mean, I'm stunned by how many people in the world don't know like who Don Barnes is. 38 Special. Dennis DeYoung, Styx. A lot of people don't know who Dennis DeYoung is. They know Styx. They know some of the titles of the songs, but I've been complaining about casual fans for the past 10 years or so because these are the people with disposable income. They don't really care who the band is. That they hear a name and they go, oh yeah, let's go see them. I've heard a couple of songs by them. I like them. They're still on the radio. Let's go see them. And this is why bands like Little River Band continue on, because people go, yeah, I like those guys. Let's go see them. Who's in the band? Doesn't matter. I don't really care. They're not even going to ask that question, by the way. But Cronin realizes that the brand is very important. And that's why he says he's devastated. Kevin Cronin is devastated at being prevented from using the REO Speedwagon name. Holy crap, Batman. So there was a way around that, Kevin. I think Bruce Hall said, hey, just let me come back. And same with Neil Doughty. Neil Doughty, who had a vote in this, said, hey, you probably should let Bruce Hall back in. So when Kevin says, too, that he was the quality control guy, how about all the shoulders that he stood on to get where he got to? Whether it's the early days of the band, whether it was Gary RICHRATH, who was a guitar hero and should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with that classic 1979 lineup or whatever version. That's probably the version. Bruce Hall, too, should be in there. I mean, he kind of just is saying, hey, I did this amazing job putting this new band together, although the new band isn't really, it's been a different band since, 1990. And a number of those guys have stayed there the whole time. I mean, the money's got to be pretty good being in REO Speedwagon. It probably wasn't during the mid-90s, but once the classic rock crowd figured out that, hey, classic rock really isn't going to progress forward, so let's go see all these older classic rock bands, you know, while they still have some gas in the tank. The problem is REO is running on fumes. Now, if you could find a singer, right, and go out there, of course, you still can't use the REO name. The old guys could find a singer and go out as REO, and Kevin, I'm sure, would be even more devastated, especially if they found someone who sounded like old REO, like early Kevin or Mike Murphy or whoever, right? And of course, Telly Savalas. No, Terry Luttrell. See how that happened? Anyway, I was doing a great video until I said Telly. Terry Luttrell is out there, and you know, he is doing concert dates, as are these guys here. Like I said, one of the reasons I decided to share this is because someone mentioned it, and I have this CD, so I figured I would showcase it. But RICHRATH 313 project, or Project 313, really good stuff. And I think there are a lot of people that are going to start looking into that. Look, Kevin, there's a way out, buddy. I mean, I'm sure you can make more money as REO Speedwagon, and all you got to do is put up with Bruce Hall. But, you know, my other sense tells me that there's something more going on here. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, there's Patreon. You can buy me a coffee if you want to send a message that way. Sorry, folks. I mean, I went from 82,000 subs down to 3,000. So, I do need the support if you want to help me out. And I will get back to you, and maybe we can have a discussion about this, because people tell me there's more to this story. You're just guessing. Right, I'm just guessing because I don't know. But this doesn't look good with Kevin Cronin telling the world that he's devastated when it appears he could have prevented this from happening. Now, if there's something more, then just tell us, Kevin, and we'll all move on and say, okay, I understand now, Kevin, why you don't want to work with Bruce Hall. Yeah, Bruce Hall, he's a horrible person. Yeah, I get it. But Bruce Hall doesn't appear to be a horrible person. People who know him tell me he's a great guy, and this seems to be a little bit strange. But before I go, let's just say this. The elephant in the room that Kevin isn't addressing is Kevin Cronin, all right? And you can apply this to other bands. 38 Special would be a good example. Journey is another example where, hey, it might be time to wind things down, all right? We know that there are no replacement bands out there that are coming to replace and to go out on tour and to do the things that these older classic rock bands have done, in some cases for like 50 plus years. But it's really time. I'm sorry to say this, but we are getting to the very end of this. And anyone who thinks to themselves, yeah, I can just go see this band forever. I mean, it's just fine. They're out there. Their name is out there. So that must mean that they have some level of quality control. Yeah, even though Kevin Cronin says he's the guy on the quality control, it's different. Now, is the music executed well? Perhaps. But, again, if your singer just isn't anywhere near where they used to be, then I'm sorry. It's like calling a ball game in the first inning. Okay, ball game's over. Yeah, it's just, we're not going to continue on. It looked good, but it sounds good, but there's something definitely wrong here. But you know what, folks? Here's the other flip side to this. People are going to continue to buy tickets. They're going to go, because I get all kinds of feedback where people say, I thought it was great. It sounded fine to me. What are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. I was there. It was an amazing concert. And I listened to the audio and I'm like, really? It was an amazing concert and you paid $200 a ticket? And you paid $20 to park the car, and you paid $14 for a beer, and you paid $40 for a T-shirt. Okay, yeah, this is why I don't go to concerts. So, anyway, folks, that's it. Another exciting edition of As the REO Turns, brought to you again by this great band here. Before I go, one more plug for the Upside Down. See, this is why, I'm just doing this live, right? RICHRATH Project 313. I want to say 316, like John 3:16. Turn to the book of RICHRATH, chapter 3, verse 13, and you'll find the project. There they are on tour. I will put a link in the description of this video. And again, my name is Dave. Thanks for being here. Until the next edition of As the REO Turns, or hopefully some other topic, I will see you then.